Hey there, Katie here. This is my brother John giving you a quick update on the real estate market.
Hey everybody.
So, new poll by LendingTree came out that 41% of respondents think the housing market is crashing.
That's a lot of people.
And 74% of those respondents think that it will be as bad or worse than the Great Recession.
Wow.
So, there's a lot of pessimists out there expecting things to go south. This is a great example of recency bias, so that's putting a lot of emphasis on something simply because it happened recently. It makes sense. We all have quite a bit of PTSD from what happened during the Great Recession, but it's important to look at the market dynamics then and compare them to the market dynamics that we have today. So first of all, inventory. Inventory was very high in 2006. And in fact, in 2006, in San Diego County, inventory exceeded 15,000 homes. Today, inventory is 3,670 homes.
Not as many.
Not as many homes. So very different dynamic in terms of supply. Second of all, lending guidelines. So as we all know, in the lead up to the Great Recession, lending guidelines were very loose. They were just giving loans away.
You basically needed a driver's license, guys. Literally, that's it.
Yeah. So that led to the subprime loan crisis that we saw, which caused the Great Recession. Today, anyone who's met with a lender who has bought a home in the last 10 to 12 years knows that you really have to qualify in order for a bank to give you a loan. So those are the two factors that are drastically different from the Great Recession.
The other thing is construction. So back in 2007, basically we stopped building homes at the rate that we were before that. We had oversupply at the time. Now we have the opposite problem. For the last 20 years, we've created 1.7 million households a year and built under 1 million homes a year. So that's created a huge problem today of undersupply of homes. And that's why we're not seeing values drop, because there's just not enough homes for the amount of people that want to buy them. Meanwhile, we are in the middle of a huge generational buyer demand purchasing season from millennials, who the average age of a home buyer in San Diego is about 35, 36. That's squarely in the middle of the millennial generation, and there's a lot of us. And so that's part of why we have these built-in imbalances. If you look back in 2008, it was the inverse. Way too many homes, and we actually had declining buyer populations every single year, as Gen X was a much smaller population than the baby boomers. So
last thing I want to mention, just as another example of recency bias that we've had in the last few years. So in 2018, interest rates went from 4% to 5%. At that time, everyone also thought the market was going to crash. It didn't crash. And then in 2020, in March, we had a pandemic. Everyone also thought the market was going to crash, and it didn't. So this is a natural phenomenon that we're seeing of recency bias. We're expecting the worst because we can still remember the worst. So it's important to remember that we're in a different market now, and continue to keep it posted from our end.
Thanks, everybody. Hang in there.